Hey everyone, it's me Alan again. This is the second video. This is just going to be a quick video like the first one. I'm going to go into like the history of the design of what's went through my head, what I've done from point A to point B to point C. Like I said in the first video. So to not ramble on too much, I'll try to keep focused on the topic, but to just give you an idea of what's happened. So it all started with more strategic card games like Warhammer 40k, the LCG, Anachronism, the History Channel card game, which may or may not anyone may not remember. Um, Legend of the Five Rings, the card game by AEG, and the LCG version by FFG. Netrunner, the LCG. Um, just I could start rattling off card games I've played in my life that were I would consider a little heavier strategic than your standard like Yu-Gi-Oh and Magic and Pokemon. Not that there's anything wrong with those games. I played them and I like them, but I would say the roots of what I'm doing steeped in the more strategic like higher end games like those that I mentioned, and that's because it reminded me of chess, where you had to sit there and think really heavily about what's going on. The plays weren't as straightforward, and because most of the tournament formats were best of one, you only got one game to like win or lose. You didn't get the best of three. Like it was even that more important to make the right choices because you screw up, then that was your game. You're not getting a chance to recalibrate over a couple more games and possibly still get your win for the tournament. A loss is a loss is a loss, and you make one mistake, it's done. So all that considered, very similar to chess, you only get one game of chess against your opponent, and so I liked the amount of thought that went into it, but at the same time, these games could take a long time, and that was kind of a barrier entry. And I wanted to create a game where it had that level of thought, but was speedy enough that you could play a game of it at like 20 to 30 minutes, just like you can Magic. Because I feel like that's like an important thing that would happen is its accessibility is that a couple kids could have their decks in their backpack and they can like just like pull it out at lunch and eat their lunch while playing a game of Magic and they'll be happy. And that kind of accessibility where you take your lunch break with your friend at work and you play over the break room table while you're eating your lunch together, things like that. I think that level of accessibility, because the game is fast and fun, is also needed. So I wanted to bridge these two like things. And old L5R had like three ways to win. I say three ways to win, but in a competitive play, you only could win the one way. Like it was very rare that you could win by the other two methods. So like it says it was, but at the same time, but that always intrigued me because what was interesting is in tournaments you would still have people trying to win one of the other two ways, and that created like some level of originality with the game that I thought was unique. Instead of you just playing through like 10 matches in a row on a long tournament day of two people trying to race each other to the one win condition, which can very much happen in CCGs, LCGs, and TCGs. You kind of had different matchups. If I'm trying to play the win condition A and you're trying to play win condition B, that's a different game than me playing win condition A and you playing win condition C. Or maybe we're both playing A. And so you get all these different combinations of like matches, which keeps it original, keeps it unique and interesting, and keeps it from feeling stagnant, like you're just playing against the same deck and the same things over and over all day long. So I wanted to achieve that too. So these lofty goals, a game that was fast like Magic, as strategic as some of the more complex games out there, and had three ways to win, each of which were viable in a tournament setting, equally, so that way you just didn't have everyone playing the one way. Was my starting point of thought, and that that kept percolating in my head. But while I was trying to think of how I could achieve that, I went ahead and started creating the lore because I knew that regardless of how I achieved that, there needed to be a world, and maybe like going with a theme approach first, kind of building the world, might help inspire how the rules would follow. And so I built this world called Vysta. You can learn more about it in the lore video that I'll record at a later date and post on here. But it was really popular. People liked the story. We started testing it, my friends and I, by creating like homebrew campaigns in that world using the 5th edition Dungeons and Dragons rule set, and people were just like, "Man, I can't wait to play the card game in this world. You gotta get it." And then then COVID hit, and things kind of went crazy in my world for a bit. And I worked on it when I could, but obviously, family first, job first, my health first. Things happened, and long story short, it kind of got put on the back burner for a year or two. It was still in my thoughts from time to time, but I couldn't sit down and think straight on it. I couldn't get my head clear of it. But that being said, I eventually sat down and started working hard on the rules. And the rules as they stand now in the beta are much different than the rules in alpha. So I made the rules, and then I actually created decks. So just to show you, this is like the original alpha deck box here. As you can see, wife created that for me, and inside it we have the original beta deck, or not beta, sorry, alpha decks. So we have the green requisition deck there, and that was my, oops, sorry. And we had the cards. There's one with an ability. Ooh. So we had the cards. These were preset decks. This was your noble, which again, for understanding all this, you can watch the rulebook video, and it'll go into what exactly these terms I'm throwing out here are. So don't worry if you're like, what the heck's he talking about? And then the tactics deck, and it's blue sleeves and cards, and they were preset decks, one for each of the 3 different win conditions. That way, and I made 2 full copies of each of those win condition decks. That way, I could have two 1v1 games going on at the same time, and be recording information and analyzing how people were playing, or just teaching someone a game while 2 people that have already learned the game can then continue on themselves. So I ran an alpha for a few months, testing out games upon games upon games, and I found out some things weren't working like they were supposed to be. Some things were working too well, which caused other things not to be chosen. So I went back to the drawing board. I rewrote into the rules to get the game working where I think it should work now on a higher level. Consulted with a couple friends, had them review and give me their advice, and I think the rules are better than they've ever been. And I'm currently working on the 360 card base set of the game. This may not be the base set that you see at retail, but at least it'll be a base set that I can have printed out and run beta testing on. This time, instead of preset decks to test out each of the 3 win conditions that exist in the game, they'll be actual, like, you can have the full plethora of the card pool at your disposal and make a constructed deck that you think will be good and then run it against other people. So this is like full testing the game as if it existed in the retail space, where you could have the collection of cards, put as many as the game allows in your deck, and run constructed high-end decks against each other. So, that being said, again, like I said, it was an idea. The lore came in. We moved to the rules, then ran an alpha with a print run. Then after the alpha set, we went back to the drawer. I keep saying we. It's like a royal we. It's me. I'm sorry, but I always view the fact that all my friends are supporting me, caring for me, and cheering me on as is my wife and my girls, my beautiful daughters and my beautiful wife. I always view that it's a we effort, even if it is me doing the work, because I couldn't do it without them, and they always should be given credit for giving me like the happiness and joy to continue on. So, apologies for the we I like confusion. I just realized that's going on. Anyway, so yes, that's kind of the timeline. I ended up rambling a lot, but again, to learn more about the lore I created, there'll be a lore video, and to learn more about the rules I created, I'll have a rule discuss video as well, which will go over the beta rules. Because those change from alpha to beta, so that way you'll know what the rules are as stands. Oh, excuse me. Apologies, it's late night and I've had a busy day. But I wanted to get these videos in since I released the GoFundMe today. Again, thank you for any help you can give, word of mouth or donation, whatever you can give. I appreciate it so much, and I hope you all have a great night and a beautiful day, depending on when you watch this. This is Alan Jones signing off, and look forward to the next two videos as soon as I can. Thanks, guys. Bye.